It is 4 a.m. Time to set up my altar. We all have items of significance. This we use to set up our altar to remember teachings and honor all the Buddhas. This cloth comes from my uncle who died 89 years old. He was a Buddhist, intellectual Buddhist. He used to argue a lot. He was very much against Zen because Zen rejected argument. But he was a very respectful of the Buddha's teaching and used to lecture me on it. This Tibetan bowl is from I think it was an arts and crafts fair in Berkeley at up in the hills on the one of those parks. Every year they have I think it's called the Himalayan Fair. So I bought this there. And this is a Chinese I use it as a gong. I'm not sure if it's a gong. But it was sitting out for maybe 10 years out in the dirt and the rain. And it came from my grandmother's house, I believe. And in the process of moving, it got discarded, and I happened to just see it laying in the dirt once, so on a cabin site out in the hills above Santa Cruz. And it still works pretty well as a gong. It has some really nice carving. I don't know how old it is, but it even says made in China. There's a nice dragon. Has a good sound. And then we need the incense holder. We need the physical Buddha. I think I got this from my sister who I'm not sure. I had bought some figures in Taiwan at the snake flea market. I forget the name of it, but it's famous. But this might have been one I bought there, but it also might be one my sister had given me. I can't remember. But it is the earth touching mudra, calling the earth to bear witness. In other words, on the final eve of enlightenment, the Buddha was challenged. What right do you have to be enlightened? Why shouldn't you just die ignorant like all the other mortals, billions before you? He touched the earth and asked the earth to be his witness. which the earth did by shaking and trembling and acknowledging his efforts. And this is an incense holder from, I think, Indonesia. Borobudur, my son brought me. Has a place for candle holder and incense here. And it's a nice green color. Then we have to have something from our teacher. And this is the first Zen teacher I met in Sonoma Mountain Zen Center. Gave me this rock, which I still have. This was back in 1992. And he told me this rock comes from the Great Lakes. He had just visited the Great Lakes, Lake Superior. And it reminded him of a sitting Buddha, I guess. If it sits like this, you can kind of see it has that shape. So he used to hand out little trinkets. Anyway, this is one he gave me. So I have it in my altar, since we should acknowledge whatever teachers we've had. And then we have to have a copy of the sutras on the altar. And this one has pretty much all of them in one little volume. And it has the Dhammapada and Tiragata. Very nice compilation. The fire sermon, I think, is in here. May I rise above all ignorance. And there should be one short quote. And a candle also, right? Light a candle, say a prayer. These days we have LED candles. And the guiding quote to be remembered is from Nyosho Ken Rinpoche, which is an affirmation of the reality of nirvana as natural great peace. So we should rest in natural great peace. This exhausted mind, beaten helplessly by karma and neurotic thought, like the relentless fury of the pounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. And then incense. And the incense is Japanese, from this open secret bookstore in San Rafael, It is a pine scent. I've had this for 20 years too. I think I'm not using it that much, but I tend to just let it burn for 5 minutes and put it out, since it kind of irritates if I breathe it too much. But it's basically used as a conditioning device, like the Pavlovian conditioning. The bells and the incense, once you attain stability of mind, that's a physical conditioning. And all these rituals help to attain that balance. If it's once attained, it becomes easier with these repetition of familiar environment and triggers like incense and bells, which is something they discovered empirically, the ancient meditators. So that are the ingredients for my altar, with the 3 bells, the Om Mani Padme Om chime for ending, the Tibetan bowl for the 3 bells as you settle, and then the large bell for the final, indicating beginning of the sitting period. Then the sitting period ends with the high chime of the Om Mani Padme Om.